Alright. Seeing as how Game of Thrones is over, it's pretty much going back to business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a little couple of things that have been going on with us,
Mm-hmm.
movie wise, show wise, and just stuff that's cool and up and coming. So
Yeah.
I'll let Jen start it off.
We saw Detective Pikachu the day that it came out,
Yeah.
and we actually saw it like with all of the Kerrville Elementary School.
Which they were very well behaved.
They
And I
actually
give
were.
them props
Uh huh.
for being. I think there were a majority of like little girls. There's a couple of little dudes there, but there were mainly little girls, and I was like really pleased by it. They enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, they like clapped at a couple parts. It was cute, but like for the most part, they were actually really well behaved. But anywho's, good for you,
The
Kerrville.
parents were actually a little bit
Yeah, the parents were more than.
more not behaved right. Their
Mhm.
cell phones lights were like
Well, they were just trying to rein in those kids. But
No.
anyways, it's not about
I know,
Kerrville kids.
that's a-
It's about Detective Pikachu, and I loved the movie because I grew up watching Pokemon. I actually read the comic books. I played the games. I collected the cards. I collected the little monitos or figurines, whatever. And watching it on screen was amazing. It was like everything that I wished for when I was little. Like when you're little, you wish that Pokemon were real and that was the world that you lived in. That's what it was like.
it engulfed me in it. I believed it. It looked like a kid's version of like Blade Runner, like like a weird utopia of like Pokemon in the future. So I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked the little like nightclubs and underground like Pokemon fight scenes and whatnot. It was
Mm-hmm.
actually really good.
Yeah. So the story was very, very simple and basic. That enough for a kid to be able to follow it
Yeah.
because clearly
But to
that's their
give you enough of a
demographic.
yeah, I mean it was simple enough for you to follow, but I think it gave enough of a spice towards where the kids kept wondering what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end they could be like, oh, okay, this is
Yeah. And I think for the adults that saw it, like me that grew up watching it, like it was like an easy plot to like figure out what was happening, but still just seeing the Pokemon like in action was the focal point for like the older people like me.
well. I feel like for people like me that I knew of Pokemon, but I didn't really engulf myself in any of it. Um, like Ryan Reynolds' acting and voice, along with the rest of the supporting cast, really did sell it to me. Where like if I didn't know anything about Pokemon, I could get sucked into it, and I could be like, okay, I like this. This is going good. Animation was spot on,
It
just
was
perfect.
amazing and beautiful. Like I literally have saved links of like realistic Pokemon, and like to see it like a CGI was just amazing.
But yeah, it was pretty great. The only for me the only CGI Pokemon that looked weird to me was Mewtwo.
Yeah,
That was it.
that's I agree with that, but
That was it. Not weird enough for me to like get taken out of the storyline as it was happening, but enough towards where like afterwards when I had a time to kind of like collect my thoughts, I was like, that's actually pretty weird.
yeah, he was the only one that seemed a little out of place. And I guess that's okay because he's like the only man-made Pokemon.
Yeah, that and like he doesn't talk, but through his brain, so like he has no emotional range in the face, but you hear his emotional tone in the volume, or I mean in the speech. So I mean it's hard.
Yeah, but I I'm not gonna give spoilers for this one. I'm just gonna say you should watch it if you were a Pokemon fan growing up, and you should definitely watch it in theaters. Don't watch it at home because it's
I mean, if
an
you watch it at home,
experience.
if you have like the 4K and like the big TV and
And a
everything,
good copy.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean, you're gonna
that's
enjoy it.
yeah, like really, and also Psyduck has always been my favorite Pokemon, and he plays a big role in this movie. So that was just like the best for me. Clearly.
Right. Yeah. So, Pokemon. If you gave me based on fun factor, plot, animation, storyline, Jesse out of 10, what would you recommend it for people that had no idea what Pokemon is? Are they gonna have fun? I would say, you know what? If there's nothing that you want to see but you want to go see the movies, give it a chance, because I would rate it a strong 8.5.
I would say like 7 or 8.
I want to say 8.5 because just the animation is so good. There's Ryan Reynolds. It's funny. It's gonna keep you entertained as long as you stay off your phone and you're not those type of people that sits there and likes to do other stuff while the movie's playing.
Yeah,
that's like the worst.
Like, I'm giving mine based off of like not even including the story, to be honest. So like if we were to include the story, I guess it would be like an 8 or a 9. But either way, if you grew up watching Pokemon or if you didn't, you're gonna enjoy the movie. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying 8.5 from someone coming out of it, because I sat there, I saw the whole thing, I got invested in it, I figured out some of the stuff that was gonna happen before it happened, sure. But then it also had little things that I was like, okay, alright, okay, I can do with this. And like I said, at the end of it, the only thing that I could personally say that I was griping about was like, you two looked a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
But that was about it. Like, literally, that was about it. I wish I could have seen more Pokemon, but what they gave me was enough to satisfy me at the time for what was going on. So,
I hope they make a sequel. I hope this becomes a series. But okay, so moving on, because I can talk a lot about this.
Just a little throwing in before we close off this Pokemon little segment. If they make a second movie, I would not be opposed to one game that I played in my youth called Pokemon Snap, or Shot, or
no, it was called Pokemon Snap. It was the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, which you take pictures of Pokemon. If it had that premise where it was this person going and searching for Pokemon and whatever, and you get to go through all the regions and search for these and discover them. Just the fact that I would be able to see the CGI on it and the way that they performed it, if it was the exact the same, I think it would be a good journey.
I didn't even think about that. That would be amazing.
That would be very amazing, especially showing them in like the little cuddly moments or like in a very creepy tones. And like I said, okay, jump into 2019 It Part 2.
Yeah, the trailer. Okay, so I'm a huge It fan, and so the trailer that they dropped was so good. Like, I feel like I'm usually a negative Nancy, and like I'm just like saying so good to everything, but the It trailer was creepy as fuck, and I want to be creeped out. I want to be scared and traumatized when I go into a movie, and just this trailer alone was creepy and scary and traumatizing. Like, just seeing her back in her old apartment and this old lady being creepy as fuck, I'm just like, I'm about it. And then like this bitch, like there's one part where like she's like naked and like swaying. Like, it made me laugh and it made me scared at the same time, because it's like, how do you react to that?
Yeah, you know what? The trailer is very interesting to me. I don't scare by clowns. Clowns are not scary to me at all.
Mm-mm.
I was raised like around a lot of clown stuff, so I don't have a fear for clowns, and I see clowns as like clowns. So whenever you see a clown that isn't in regular clown makeup and is like in a creepy clown makeup, you're like, that's not a clown. That's like somebody being weird. It's like when you see a cop and then you see a dude dressed up as a stripper cop. Like, you could tell the difference.
Yeah.
But in these movies, kids are like, oh, it's a clown. And you're like, no, he's about to start dancing. But anyways, I am super excited when I saw it, but then after letting my brain sit and be, weird about it, I was like, is this the best? I mean, you know how they give the best part of stuff and trailers. I was like, I hope they didn't give us like the scariest
No,
sequence
there's
of it.
no way.
I don't know.
I feel like that's just like a teaser. And then like with the cast that they have,
Okay,
there's no way that's like the best.
I mean, I love Bill Hader.
I know, I'm so excited for him. I'm glad you brought him up.
I've seen interviews and how he's like, I don't know how to react, and they kept telling me like, dude, you're not acting scared at all. And I heard he was a big problem throughout the whole filming of it because he just was not. This is his first horror film. He's a comedy guy. This is his first horror film.
You know what? I don't care because I think he's incredibly hot and I think that I will enjoy him being like a comedic like
Yeah, but
break
like okay,
in there.
the comedic breaks are cool, but when everybody else is acting terrified and you turn around, he's all.
Well, that was basically oh god, what was his name from Stranger Things? Oh my gosh, I don't remember. But okay, I'm gonna look him up. Is he playing the same little kid? I'm trying to find there we go.
Okay, well, I mean, Stranger Things has time and episodes to develop. We're only gonna get about an hour and something to get Bill Hader's character giving us the good stuff.
He's Richie. I think he's the funny little boy from the first one. Clearly, I'm not that much of a fan if I can't remember.
Well, I mean, like, you...
I'm also drunk.
Yeah, I mean, you get them confused. I get them confused all the time, and I've...
Oh, yeah, okay, it is the same kid.
I've seen this movie, like, the old movie, like, a million times. I can tell you the plot, but once you ask me to get into specific names...
Well, I've seen it too, but it's just... I'm drunk.
Okay, well, yeah, I could be, I mean, that's what we do it, you know, Geeks with Drinks. We like to go into tangents, but,
yeah.
Good. I am excited about it.
It looks amazing. I think they did great with casting all of the characters, and I honestly cannot wait to see it. I can't wait for the new NECA figure to come out.
If for people that don't know that NECA is a basically articulated action figure or toy line, which they aren't because you can't play them, pose them, and go crazy with them like toys. They'll break, but they have very detailed movie specific stuff, and they're amazing actually.
Yeah, and they just look amazing. Like Jesse showed me the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive,
which I wasn't too pleased about because it's just a black and white paint with wash on it.
I love
but
the black
I know
and white.
she would love it. You know,
yeah.
Because it's a very unique take on it, and that kind of figure, if you posed it in a back or a light background and you added a couple of little things in there, it could make it into a very creepy, dream-esque kind of scene.
Either way, I'm about it.
Yeah, which is really cool. I mean, NECA, again, dropping it off. They have a couple of things for mainly horror movies, which they do really well.
Oh, speaking of, they're gonna have the Candyman one, right? Like
Candyman,
coming up very recent.
NECA, yes. I also showed you that one because I thought you would be very excited about that.
Candyman is like basically my favorite horror movie, and I was fucking torn when we bought tickets for a show called Rockula, and
we did not get to see him.
We did not get to see
because
him.
I mean, I like that she's super pumped for it, and I have always had a very special place for Candyman because culturally how it spoke, you know, it's an actual place. Cabrini Greens, it's an actual place. If y'all didn't know, which I'm pretty sure some of you, if you're horror people, and it was a terrible place. It was a very rough ghetto, and you know when people live in places like that, they invent weird, crazy, scary things.
Like La Llorona.
Yeah, I mean it's a culture thing. You know, it's an African American based movie, but I could really relate to it because there's very close similarities to Hispanic heritage, Mexican American things. which was done right, unlike La Llorona.
Yeah.
Very
That was
terrible
very
film.
bad.
But anyways,
Yeah.
all right. It off of that, jumping
yeah.
out now. We're going to a very weird place in movies going on, where we've seen a very big, awesome spike in superhero movies. Now I guess we're going into like tangents of like superhero horror things. And the title is Brightburn.
Um, I don't really know much about the story unless from other besides what you've told me, and he told me I'll let him explain it.
Okay.
But basically, my reaction before he explains it is it looks creepy and it kind of scares me, and it kind of reminds me of the Doctor Who when they bring the little kid and he's wearing the little gas mask and he's like, "Are you my mummy?" And that, I don't know, that creeps me out, and that's what it reminds me of. But I'll let him talk about the story.
Okay. For people that know comic books and stuff like that, and they get into it, they know the Superman mythos. From a kid from a distant planet, crashes to Earth, family that can't have kids, finds this baby. Instead of turning him to the authorities, calling the government, they hush everything up and they take it as a sign of like, we've been blessed with this child. So they instill their family values, American ways, all the wholesome goodness of human beings in that kind of thing. And he grows up to be one of the greatest symbols of, basically American heroism, Superman. Or America's Boy Scout. Second to Captain America. Haha. Which is way better. But anyways, what if when he found out, or when he was told that he was an alien and that they were not his real parents, instead of saying, "But you guys are, I don't care about that," and he embraces his human side more and kind of puts his Kryptonian side to the back burner to kind of settle himself, and then he goes, "No, I'm an alien, I got these superpowers, and I'm gonna do whatever I want." And then people that piss him off, he just, he doesn't have that inhibition, and he doesn't care about what his parents think because they're not his real parents. That's essentially what ends up happening. He goes through like a disassociative state, henceforth the mask, henceforth, as I've heard from reviews, very gruesome murders, and I think I heard one reviewer, I don't know exactly, he was very impressed by the CGI and the murder scenes, that he thought this was a very big budget film, but it wasn't. I think it was somewhere under 7 million, and it was James Gunn, and the whole thing, they direct and do this whole thing, so it's very well put out for people that have never seen this before. But nerds like me, we've gone through this like a million times in the comic books.
Well, clearly I'm not that nerdy, but either way, I want to see it in theaters.
Yeah, and I mean it's gonna be visually stunning. I've heard a lot about it. The murders are gonna be like, I heard some guy said, I saw the rating and I was like, they won't take it that way. And then when he saw the scenes, they were like, oh crap, they went there.
I'm about it. I'm kind of a gore whore, so I'm about it.
Yeah, it's gonna take you there, and it's gonna have the the scares that you would expect from something.
Okay, well, this is something that we did not put on there, but now that we're talking about gore, I kind of want to talk about the Quentin Tarantino movie that's coming out, because I'm not a Quentin Tarantino
I've been pumped.
fan.
I've been literally, since I heard it, I've been very excited about it. I've been telling her, I was like, this is gonna be a great movie. It's gonna be an awesome movie. And she's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So they've been releasing more trailers, and they released this recent trailer. And I had already explained to her, like, it's gonna be washed up Hollywood back then. How he does so perfectly. I like how he just takes you there. And then Manson family's gonna be in there. A lot of stuff that's been going on in the area. And I told her about it because I thought it would be like, because she's really into Manson family stuff and stuff. And she was like, nah, I don't think he's gonna do it right. And then I showed her, like, you got Sharon Tate, you got it's gonna interconnect. You know, I don't know how big of an interconnection, but I think it is gonna be a big thing. It's just, I thought it was gonna be it's gonna be a good film.
Well, I may have been drunk, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
Maybe it could be both.
Yeah, it may have been a combination when he said that it was gonna have to do with Sharon Tate.
I didn't say it's gonna have to do. I said it's gonna feature.
Or well, it's gonna feature,
yes,
because really
in that timeline
anything
that it's based in.
Yeah, anything that features Charles Manson, I'm gonna watch. Like, I've seen so many terrible Charles Manson movies. Like, really, like, if I wanted to do a review video by myself of all the terrible Charles Manson
okay, let me just
things,
get into
I could.
This is gonna give you factual stuff about Marilyn Manson, but it's also gonna send you into like alternate reality stuff,
I know.
And it's gonna be so delicious because you're gonna be like, yeah, I think that could have happened.
No, I'm very well versed in what happened with Charles Manson.
Okay, everybody's very well versed on what happened with the Holocaust and Nazis, but when you go into Inglourious Basterds and you watch the movie, it's a fucking awesome movie.
It's an amazing movie,
but you know it didn't happen that way.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I'm saying. It's gonna have stuff like that, and I am really excited to see how they take that and how they take Hollywood and everything. And I know the ending is gonna be like a what the fuck moment, but it's gonna be great.
I hope it is, because
It's gonna be a what the fuck moment. You can say like what the fuck happened, like Pulp Fiction, at the end, John Travolta dies. People are like, what the hell? But it was, like I said, it's gonna be good.
yeah. So we're gonna end up seeing it in theaters, like.
I was gonna see it anyways. Just don't.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have minded if he went and saw it by himself if I didn't know it involved Charles Manson. But so we're gonna end up seeing it in theaters. We'll have our review on it. I'm really hoping that it's good, because the last Quentin Tarantino movie I saw in theaters, I don't even remember what it was, but like it had we saw it. I saw it at a specific theater, and there was a joke about a Kahuna burger, and I'm positive it was him that I did not know was there, and he was the only fucking person laughing in the whole theater. He was like, Kahuna burger, and like this may have been him, or this may have been some other weirdo, but
could have been some other guy shoes.
Yeah, but
Taken at the time.
No. It was like somebody in the front of the theater.
Oh, okay. All
that
right.
like they made a Kahuna burger joke in another Tarantino movie. Obviously, they were referencing another.
I don't. Whenever I'm watching a movie, I like to go into stuff like that.
Well, anywho.
You know, you've seen me. I'll whisper something to you, like, "Oh my god, this is it."
Yeah, but this person, maybe you were drunk.
No, even when I'm drunk, I'll be like, "Oh my god." I internalize more in the big screen.
I'm not good at that. Like when I'm drunk, I'm just like, "Oh my god."
I internalize. I'm like, God, just let it happen.
Well, anyways, I'm just hoping that it's not a big letdown, because I'm not very.
It's not gonna be a big letdown.
I'm not a big.
Because I recently saw a movie tour thing where it's him, Brad Pitt, Margie Robbo, who plays Sharon Tate.
Yeah, she's also known as Harley Quinn.
Whatever. This reporter gets up and, of course, does this whole jerk off process of like praising the whole thing, but then continues to go, well, you know what? If this is such an amazing movie and you have such an amazing writing, how come you didn't give her more lines in the movie? How come she is basically not given that many lines?
I think see something
it's like
that.
she's basically saying it's a disservice. And Quentin Tarantino, being the guy that I inspire to be as I get older, turns around and goes, well, you know what? I rebuke your hypothesis. I basically don't, whatever opinion that you have, I don't acknowledge it, because that's not the case. which is the case with. Yeah, I mean, if you know Quentin Tarantino movies, which I'm gonna not try to ramble on too much about, there is a lot of dialogue.
There's sometimes
But then,
too much.
yes, but for important characters, there's less dialogue, and those are the characters that shine the most. So I don't know, just the simple fact that someone was ridiculous and stuff, that just like say that was very upsetting to me. But okay, now that we're moving on from this thing that we wasn't even on our little list here,
We have a list.
the lodge.
The Lodge. We talked about that.
This, I think, during the Pet Cemetery review.
I don't know. I think it was just a trailer review of several trailers.
Well, yeah, I think we did like a 3-part something. Anyways,
Yeah.
we couldn't find the link, so we couldn't really give you that review because she didn't remember it that well.
Yeah, but there is an official trailer now that there's literally one link on YouTube for The Lodge. I think it looks amazing. I'm going to put this link in our description. I'll do it tomorrow when I'm sober because right now I'm just going to be like, ha, Geeks with Drinks, and upload it.
It's 50-50 with me. I feel like it could let me down.
I think
because I think
so
it's
good.
giving me too much again in the trailer.
That's how it was with Hereditary. I felt they gave us a lot in Hereditary. I think Hereditary was one of the most
because it was
amazing
movies. It was very well written because, okay, again, not to speak down on anybody, but there's people that like horror because of the guts, cheesy stuff, and whatever. And then there's people that like horror because there's a setup for it. There's a foreplay, if you will, that sets you up. Literally, you'll run like Audition. I don't know if you've ever seen that foreign film. People out there, literally Audition will run you through the first hour and like 15 minutes of just build
setting it up.
And the last 15 to 20 minutes
is
a drop of like pure insanity, and that is, I think, the best of it. And Hereditary was like that.
Yes.
It was a slow build up, a very slow build up, almost to the point where if you weren't paying attention to the symbols and meanings of stuff like that, you would get lost and be like, this is a dumb movie. But the last 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of it,
it was literally
insane. Like you were like, oh man, this is really hitting the fan, and it snowballed into a very satisfying ending. And satisfying endings don't necessarily always mean a conclusion for me. They mean that they will leave your imagination open up to where you'll think of sequels, prequels, or stuff that you're getting ready to see again.
I feel
because you want to know what
the hell happened.
What this is, what that. It leaves you with a lot of questions, but still at the same time going, the story ended where it should have ended. But you want to learn a little bit more about what this meant, what that meant, where this came from, and I think that's a good horror movie.
Yeah, and really it's one of the best horror movies. And now that we're talking about Japanese horror, you brought up Audition. There was another film that reminds me of that. I don't know if I ever showed it to you. It was like they were wearing a bunny mask, and it was like a school reunion, and like at the end it turned out to be like this kid that ended up like killing all of his classmates.
If anything, it sounds like the mashup of
I'm trying to look for it right now.
It was like a mashup of certain Japanese directors that did this Western thing for Lionsgate.
I don't know.
Where like there's like literally like I think like violin chords running through people and stuff like that.
That
the
sounds
Three Extremes?
familiar. No, it wasn't that. Like I know It was like a reunion. Maybe it was called The Reunion. I'm gonna find it before we move on.
Well, I mean, I'll let her keep going. The Lodge review.
It looks amazing.
It looks amazing from what I've seen, but I'm very doubtful of it because.
Bloody Reunion. Sorry, that's what it's
Oh,
called.
okay, yeah, there you go. Yep.
Okay.
Now we recently saw.
I'm just gonna say watch that. Like, basically anything in the tartan horror extreme was really good.
Before she advises you to watch this, if you don't like subtitles or reading while you watch your things, then don't, because you're just gonna be very displeased with that. But if you can read and invest yourself on stuff, then you'll be okay.
Yeah, and I have like undiagnosed ADHD, and I was able to watch
Because
this.
the visual aspects of it are very strong, and they're not like our horror films.
Oh no.
If you watch international horror films, they really have a completely different way of measuring their horror out. But yeah, I mean that's a whole other tangent of going into like foreign horror film.
This was all from, what is it, The Lodge? I'm sorry that I distracted us from that.
I went into audition because of the slow build, because I feel like that's literally what they're going for. Because
and the
whenever
witch.
because I feel whenever these independent films come on, they really do take a lot out of foreign films and the way that they're done right.
You said films. I'm sorry. I just want to throw in this like really quick tidbit that has nothing to do with it. I saw a makeup reviewer that says films instead of films, and like
that's just clearly wrong.
Or well, she was like from a different country. Like she was like, she reminded me of oh God, what is her name? I love her. She's like androgynous. She was in the Marvel movie, the Ancient One.
Oh.
Oh God.
She plays the Ancient One, and then she plays Gabriel and Constantine.
Yeah, you Google it later. She's beautiful and amazing. Anywho's, we're gonna go on to the Prodigy. We are literally like going over the time that we said we would go, but I need to talk about the Prodigy because it fucked me up.
It's basically any creepy kid movie that's ever been made. The Orphan.
I didn't watch all of The Orphan because I got bored.
Well, like, I mean, again, at the time she wasn't a mother, so there's no, like, you just like, I see a fucking creepy kid, I punch him in the face. You know what I mean? That's your reality when you see creepy kids. Like, it's a fucking kid, I'm gonna punch him in the face if he comes at me with a knife.
Yeah, just fucking hit him with the bat, hit him with the machete or something.
Yeah, like, pump that kid.
Yeah,
but when you become a parent, as I told you, it's a very different aspect. It does really, if they all of a sudden, you become rough on them and they turn the kid charm on you, it will play a role in how you make decisions on it, because,
or just how you feel about movies in general, like that has to do with kids. But anywho's, the Prodigy, like, I guess we're gonna go into a little bit of spoilers because if
you don't have kids and you're fairly young, this movie's gonna basically be useless to you, because you're not, the whole time you're gonna be like, punch that kid, drown that kid, put poison in his Pop-Tart, stop that kid. You know what I mean? The whole time you're gonna be saying that. But if you're a parent and you know how weird your kids can be, then you're gonna be giving them slides. Alright, well, maybe my kid learned Russian out of somewhere.
Yeah, so
How would you?
Yeah, so basically the movie was this little kid was born and he becomes a prodigy. Like, he becomes very smart.
Right, okay, we've started off wrong, sorry.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess we
There's
should talk
this
about the intro of
thing
the movie.
going on where there's this mass murderer.
Not a mass murderer, a serial killer.
Serial killer, and he's going on a spree, and he has this victim that he's gonna get, and he gets foiled. Oh, they catch him. So he comes out in a rebellious act, and he gets blasted away by the cops. And at the exact same time as his life is being ended, this couple is having their child born, which leads you to believe that, the whole reincarnation thing is happening. So his soul is leaving, this soul is being born, so he kind of attaches himself to it.
Yeah.
And then, okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
And so so clearly the parents don't know that some crazy serial killer has been like reincarnated in their baby. So this baby is a prodigy. Like, he is extremely smart. He is testing above average when they take him to schools, but he is displaying
because there's literally an adult brain
in that little baby body.
Halfway through going inside that baby body.
Yeah, but so this little kid is displaying very worrisome tendencies. Like, he's killing the family pet.
He's very aggressive. He's very paranoid. He's very... I mean, it's weird. Like, even for a kid, which is a very uncomfortable scene, he's very hypersexual inside of the film, which I think adds to the creepiness of it, because the mother's trying to comfort him, and he's really being like how a kid shouldn't be, because your kid will do things to make you feel that he loves the attention you give, but this is like going on borderline creepiness. When his skill set is just going off. I think that whoever played the dad did either a good or a terrible job of playing the dad, because I don't know what the script said, but if the script said being a dad that's never there, or like a dad that doesn't want to be in that, then that's cool. But if the script said being a dad that's very observant and minding it, then you did a terrible job. I can't tell.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very a movie that made me actually scream at one point. We didn't watch it in theaters. We watched it at home. I'm sorry. I think it was released in 2018, so it doesn't really matter. But it literally made me scream. There was a bit of a gore factor or a shock value. And kids are just creepy, to begin with. It doesn't even have to be a horror movie. I'll wake up and our son will be, in his crib staring at us, and it's kind of creepy, and I'm just
just sitting up in the dark,
yeah,
enjoying himself,
yeah,
waiting for us to,
to wake up. He's not even crying, and I'm just go back to bed. He's only... 8 months? Yeah, he's only 8 months, and he's already doing that. And then I'm just you need to go to bed. And so kids are creepy to begin with. And so this kid in the movie is very creepy. He's showing homicide, or not homicide, serial killer tendencies.
Sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah, I guess.
He's a very big sociopath. He's very manipulative. He uses those tactics on his dad, on his mom.
Yeah.
Same thing with the psychologist, which kind of catches on.
My God. The psychologist scene fucked me up.
Yeah, there's some really good scenes. It's a good flick. Like I said, if you're gonna give it a try, if you're just gonna be nah, I'd stomp that little kid's face in, then it's not gonna go for you. You're just gonna be bored half of the time. But if you can kind of give it a thing where you're this is my baby, so I'm gonna give him free passes for all the time, which parents always do. Then yeah, for sure it's gonna give you the worst aspects of being a parent and whatnot. But yeah, it's creepy.
But yeah, just watch the movie. I think it was great. There's a lot of bad horror movies. This wasn't one. But I think in a future video, we need to talk about Hereditary. It's been out since, I think, 2017. But we reference it a lot because I love it so much. And I think that I've watched all of the videos on YouTube available on Hereditary. I've read a lot of articles and Reddit threads about Hereditary. Like, we're gonna talk about it so that we can stop making videos longer because I'm talking about it so much.
Well, I mean, it's still gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm still gonna reference back to it. But yeah, so for now, that's our review video. Alright?
Right, yeah.